So imagine being a kid. You've always dreamed about getting drafted by an NFL team. So let's say that it happens. Now what? So what do NFL rookies really go through before training camp? You ever wondered? Don't worry about it. Raider Nation, what's going on? Welcome to Protect the Shield podcast, where opinions might not always be popular, but they'll always be authentic. But guys, I got a special show today. Got former Heisman Trophy candidate Josh Harris in the building. Now, Josh, he's real humble, man, but don't get it twisted. You know, he's one that made Urban Meyer's spread option offense popular. He's one of the few first quarterbacks to ever throw and rush for 40 touchdowns in his career. Josh Harris, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me, bro.
Good, man. How you been? You been doing all right?
So I've been good, man. Busy. Between work and the boys' schedules and just life, but I don't have any complaints, bro. I'd rather be busy than not busy.
For sure. Like, I really appreciate you taking the call, man, because I know you're super busy right now, and I know you're raising a baby Calvin Johnson / LeBron right now, man.
Hilarious.
That boy's a monster, man. How's that whole process going?
So he just graduated yesterday. They walked the stage yesterday. Graduation party is June 11th. He'll be on his way. We'll be dropping him off at Bowling Green on June 24th. So it's a whirlwind right now.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. That's awesome, man. That's just been able to watch him from afar. You know, a lot of stuff that you've been posting, and that's he's a beast, man.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. So generally, on this platform, I dedicate it to Raider news and things like that. But with the NFL draft being over, I kind of wanted to tap into the mind of, what are the drafted rookies going through? Just kind of wanted to take a deep dive into the things that, they go through before, during, and after training camp. And I know you just kind of going back, you had an incredible senior season at Bowling Green. You pretty much rewrote all the records and stuff like that. And, you're the third player in conference history to get 4,000 yards in offense. And like I said, you were the second quarterback ever to rush and throw for 40 touchdowns. So that's really incredible. But just kind of want to tap in. So, like, what after your senior season happens? Kind of like what happens next? I know you got invited to the Senior Bowl. Like, what's all that process like?
So, if I was to go back, like, we played in the Motor City Bowl on the day after Christmas, so December 26th. Now, you also got to remember my situation may be a little different because I was already married.
Yeah.
So my wife and I were on a plane. We spent New Year's Eve in New Orleans. Like, I was off. We played the game. We won the game. I don't remember exactly how many days it was before we left for New Orleans, but that's where we trained for the combine. There's a group of guys that was down there training with Tom Shaw for the combine and the Senior Bowl. And so, I mean, it was a whirlwind then too. Like, I came back to Columbus, signed with my agent at the Easton, the Hilton right there at the Easton.
Yeah.
And we were on the move right after, man. So we were in a furnished apartment in New Orleans, Kenner, Louisiana, actually, but right there down there by New Orleans. We were there all the way up through the combine, through the Senior Bowl, then through the combine, and then I came back home to Bowling Green to finish up. So we came home to Bowling Green. Still had my apartment there. That's where I lived still during the draft, right? So that whole process, it was like 2 days. It was 2 days down at Tom Shaw. and then it was back home and just a college student. You know what I mean? Until draft time. We came home. We were in Columbus for the draft. Both myself and my wife's family are both from here, so we did the draft here in town. Did not do a draft party until the second day.
Okay.
And thank God we didn't, man. I would have been embarrassed.
Yeah.
I would have been embarrassed, but so we did it the second day. Go ahead.
Yeah, because that's one thing I was wondering. Because if I remember correctly, of course you would know. I almost remember hearing like, you could potentially be going as early as like the second round or third round. So what kind of stuff were you being told at that time? From agents or other teams?
So I definitely was told second to fifth round.
Okay.
Was the grade. And so there was 4 quarterbacks that were like consensus first round top guys. That was Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger, and then there was a guy named J.P. Losman that didn't end up doing much in the league, but he was one of the guys.
Yeah.
And then there was Matt Schaub, kind of was like on an island. And matter of fact, Matt Schaub spent some time out there in Oakland, didn't he?
He did. Yep.
So he was kind of on an island as the 5th quarterback by himself. And then there was a bunch of us that were kind of lumped together, and then it would be like take your pick based on the team, who their favorite guy was. So like what's funny is my oldest son just played in the North-South All-Star game, and one of the things they did with the kids is they took them to the Hall of Fame there in Canton. Yeah. And so he sends me video of I guess there's a book, like a scouting book that Bill Cowher was writing his notes, and he had his notes in there, and he had his quarterbacks ranked. And he had me ranked as the 6th quarterback
of that draft.
So I was like, damn, what's crazy is that if Ben didn't fall to Pittsburgh, if Ben doesn't fall to Pittsburgh, because remember he was in New York just chilling.
Right. They thought he was gonna go early. Yeah.
If he didn't fall to Pittsburgh, maybe we get drafted by Pittsburgh earlier. Yeah. Even when I got to Baltimore, I asked Matt Cavanaugh, who was the offensive coordinator at the time, I was like, bro, how did I end up falling to the 6th round? Yeah. And he said, I would have taken you in the 4th. He said, but Ozzie just has a good feel for these things, and he just felt like you would be available.
You would be there. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. That's crazy. So during the whole process, let's go back to the combine. So when you're at the combine, is that when teams are like talking to you? And if they are, like, who are you talking to from the teams at that point? Like, are you talking to the scouts? Are you talking to GMs, coaches at that point? Or
man, I can't even tell you, bro. Like, honestly, the combine was intense. It was a lot, bro. Like it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about, so like all the teams have rooms, like suites.
Yeah.
So you might get pulled into a meeting and you don't know who the hell's in the room.
Yeah.
It might be 10 people in there, or it could be 2. So I can't even tell you who. I don't even remember who. The only person I remember going and meeting with the Dolphins because I was walking out of their room and Dan Marino came out of the bathroom. The bathroom was between the back room and where the meeting was and the door to get back to the hallway. And he comes out of the door and I look up and I'm like, hey man, you're Dan Marino. Like I ain't never really been too starstruck or like that. But in that moment, I didn't have anything else to say. I was like, bro, you're Dan Marino. And so I can't tell you who's in the room. Probably everybody, right?
Yeah.
Probably everybody. And so probably talking to personnel, probably talking to front office. You may be talking to some coaches. The coaches may be out on the field. Who knows? I don't really know. I just know that they get you up early in the morning and they keep you up late at night.
Yeah.
It's jam packed the whole time, bro.
I can imagine. While you were in doing the combine, did you get any relationships with other quarterbacks as in the class? Did you have any friends, or you were just so focused on like what I got to do?
Yeah, the combine. No, I didn't really connect with anybody at that time. I'm not a super social guy anyway.
Right.
But I was locked in. I wanted to perform well. I wanted to throw well. Trying to figure out, whether I was going to run or not run, which I did not end up running. I did everything else. So I just was really kind of locked in. So no, I didn't really connect with anybody. But again, you connect with people when you're in your preparation for the combine and stuff, right?
Right.
So like where I was training, Michael Bulware, Greg Jones, Mike Jenkins, Brian Riff, Ben Troop. What's the safety's name? I can't remember his name. I think his last name was Reed. But you remember when Greg Jones knocked that dude's helmet off from North Carolina, Florida State?
Yeah.
He was also there. So
Okay.
that was funny. So they're both there, and everybody's making a big deal out of it. So that was a funny moment. But those are the guys you kind of connected with during that time frame, and pre-draft time frame.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. So then, so you're going through that whole process, and again, so I know your dad played in NFL for 6 years with the Bengals. So were you able to lean on him at all during this whole process? Was he able to kind of, give you any guidance?
So my dad's path was different because dad came to the league from Canada.
Yeah.
So and also maybe because I didn't ask a bunch. If I could go back, man, I wish I would have been more like, hey dad, how did you, hey dad, what would you? But I didn't. I didn't do that during the hiring process of agents. It was just me and my wife, man. It was like I felt like I was grown, and I felt like these were my decisions, and I felt like I was intelligent enough to make them all. I mean, I have a great relationship with my dad, but I just didn't use him as a resource like I should have.
Right.
During that time frame.
No, that makes sense. So as we're getting close to draft night or whatever, so kind of what are the feelings that you were going through, like nerves and, excitement? Like where were your emotions at?
So that's a great question. Like initially, the thought was, I'm not going to sit and watch the whole draft.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The thought was, we're going to watch the beginning of the draft, the exciting part of the draft. And then we're going to bang out. We're going to go do something.
Yeah. Wait for that phone call.
Well, so then what happens is they take JP in the first round, which pre-draft, I had been flown out to Buffalo.
Okay.
So Buffalo's like, hey, if you're still available in the third round, we'll take you. So we watched the first part of the draft, and then JP Losman gets drafted. And I don't even know that I knew that Matt Schaub was kind of like on his own, because they don't tell you who's where.
Right.
So I'm thinking, oh, shit, like, we can't leave now because JP
it's getting
was
real.
drafted already. Like, someone could stretch and reach.
Yeah.
Like, Josh is my guy, so let me go. And so we watched the entire draft, bro, up until the point. So we watched that whole day thinking,
oh, man.
Yeah, because let's see, Cleveland told me if I was available in the third round, they would take me. Buffalo told me the same. And so I'm just watching and waiting. And initially it was just excitement, and then it was frustration. And then it was anger, like the next day.
Yeah.
Anger, embarrassment. I'm sitting in a pub in Dublin with all my friends and family around. not all of them, but a bunch of friends and family around. And then these random ass quarterbacks start getting drafted.
Like, who was that?
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was thinking. And then other guys that were not random, but that I had not heard were,
Above you,
above me. Yeah, like when Craig Krenzel got drafted to Chicago.
That's wild.
In the fifth round.
That's
when
wild.
let me see, when who else? So that was one because Chicago had back-to-back picks, I believe, when they did that. And then when the dude, I think his name was Andrew Hall, the quarterback out of Delaware, maybe, got drafted to the Philadelphia Eagles. I actually left the pub and went outside. I called my agent. I was like, what is going on, bro? Like, what is happening? He was like, what happened? Did you just get drafted? I said, no, are you not watching the draft? Like, bro. He said, I don't know, Josh. I don't know what's happening. And then I got a call. And I got a call. It was a number that was not stored in my phone. It was a Maryland area code. I said, man, let me call you back. Like, I'm like yelling into my phone, bro.
Yeah.
Not that there was anything he could do, but
yeah, I'm
like pissed, bro. I'm pissed. I'm embarrassed. And I pick up the phone. I'm like, hello. and Ozzie Newsome's on the line.
Oh, okay.
He's on the line, and he's like, "Yeah, is this Josh?" I said, "This is him." I'm still kind of barking at the phone a little bit. He was like, "This is Ozzie Newsome with the Baltimore Ravens. How you doing?" I said, "I'm better now." And he said, "Oh, well, how you buy a TV?" I said, "I can be." I said, "Let me walk back in here to the bar."
Oh man!
And he said, "Well, we'll get to a TV because we're getting ready to make you a Baltimore Raven." And then they disconnect the line, and boom, here comes the ticker tape, and everybody goes crazy. And I just remember yelling, "It's about damn time!" But after that moment, I was no longer frustrated. I was happy. It was joy. So it was a rainbow of feelings, bro.
Man, yeah, I can imagine because that's one thing. Like, as I've seen other interviews with players, man, it's like they get their hopes up, because agents and other teams are telling them one thing, and then man, it's just crazy. Because I had a conversation similar to Stu Swaggart, man. He was kind of telling me, something similar. I'm like, that's nuts, man. That's nuts. Especially seeing people that you're better than.
Well, that to each their own. That you say, I'll let you say it, not me. But what I know is that you end up having a little bit of a certain expectation, and when that expectation is not met, then you got questions, but there's no one you can ask.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that is a feeling of hopelessness at the highest level. Like, people to this day will be like, "Oh, what was it like, being in the league or getting a chance to play in the league?" I'm like, man, it was my biggest gift and my biggest curse at the same time. Like, it was my biggest blessing and one of my biggest, like, hardest times of my life.
Yeah.
Well, at least you got a shot. It's like, yeah, but my career, I didn't have the career that I thought I was going to have in my brain. So it also feels like my biggest achievement and my biggest failure simultaneously.
No, that's deep, because you think like someone like me, like I didn't have the work ethic, or I just wasn't good enough. So it's like, in my mind, I'm like, man, just getting to the league, that would just be everything. But then, you look at it from your shoes, where you were just a flat out beast. And you're like, man, I could have did more. I could have had a big career. So that's deep though, because it's all about perspective.
Yeah, it is definitely all about perspective, and you do the best that you can with the information that you have at the time. And when the information changes, so will the plans and stuff. But so now we know what we know, and honestly, man, I was a little before my time, bro. If it was 2023 when I was coming out, it'd
you would
probably
have
be a
been.
completely different story.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It's actually okay. I still love to watch the game. and I'm really looking forward to what I have done. The translation has been I have downloaded a ridiculous amount of information and process and thought process and work ethic into my sons.
Yeah.
And I happen to marry a wonderful woman that is an incredible athlete in her own right. So now we gave birth to some mutants, and
Y'all did.
and so I'm just enjoying the ride. As he gets ready to leave and go to Bowling Green. But then my younger one is a freshman right now who just qualified for the state track meet. So we'll be in the state meet next weekend. Watching him high jump, right? He just tied the school record at 6'5".
That's crazy.
So you just do the best you can, and it wasn't for me, but now maybe it's for them, right? Like I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine in life and financially and stuff like that. So, maybe them having the opportunity to really blow it out, like really blow it out, like really blow it out. That maybe it wouldn't have been the same way if I would have.
Yeah.
Because the lessons and the messages might be different.
Yeah, that's true. And I imagine, I've just seen you, as far as kind of how involved you are. So, with your boys being able to have that resource, man, that's key, man. So that's awesome. That's awesome. So after the draft happens, you get the call from Ozzy, your emotions were a little bit everywhere.
Yep.
So where you at this point? So you're getting ready. So what happens first? So you got to get prepared for OTAs and all that whole process. So
I feel like we were in Baltimore like 2 weekends later doing OTAs. I feel like don't quote me because it was 20 years ago. But I feel like there was I feel like it was maybe one or 2 weekends later. We had OTAs. So I go to practice. That's like 2.5 days or whatever it was. Or maybe it was 1.5 days. I can't remember. But it was just a couple of days, kind of look around a little bit. And then they go to move us up for the summer for the off-season program. Well, they would have put us in a hotel. And you have a roommate and all of that. But I'm already married, bro. Like, wherever I go, I'm taking my wife with me, right? So we get an apartment. And we move to Baltimore. Like, straight up. Boom.
Yeah.
By the summertime, the draft is at the end of April, right? So probably we might have been there for June. Who knows? I don't even remember. But, move the wife and I to Baltimore. We actually took custody of her little brother, who was a middle schooler at that time, who ended up going to college to play basketball at St. Louis and then OU. He finished at OU. So we were a family of 3 right off the bat, bro. Like living and trying to figure things out. I was shocked at how similar being in the league was like having a 9-to-5, bro. Like you get up and you go to work. The difference is they got a cook in there. You go place your order, go finish getting dressed, and then you come back and do, grab your breakfast or whatever. But like, between working out, watching film, having practice, watching film again,
it's all day.
Like it's all day. So you finish up about 4 o'clock and then headed back home, and it'd be like, damn, it's like I have a job. It's like a job, right?
Yeah.
It becomes predictable.
Yeah.
It wasn't just this. It was definitely not a freestyle. Hey man, we got practice, and then you're gonna hang out and do whatever. But so that was fun, and it was also. I don't know why I was surprised by it, but I was. I was surprised by it. Like, man, this is really like the entire day. You know what I mean? But I enjoyed it, man. I really did enjoy my time. I wish it would have been a longer, more fruitful career. But I'm not bitter about it. I actually still am a huge fan of the game.
Yeah.
I realize that the line between those who really, really, really made it and those who almost made it, like myself, and then those who almost made it, like the ones who were invited to OTAs but never got a shot after that. And then the ones who were on the bubble of getting invited to OTAs but didn't quite make the cut. That line is so razor thin, bro.
Yeah.
So razor thin that I really can't complain about anything.
Yeah. So how far in the process were you able to get with the Ravens?
So with the Baltimore Ravens in my rookie year, I had a great camp. I played very well. They had on the roster was Kyle Bowler, Anthony Wright, and myself, and then they had some other rookie undrafted free agents, right? Brian Gaither out of, I think, Western Carolina. So here we are, and we're going through the deal in the summertime. They find Anthony Wright was the guy who played in the playoffs the previous year because Kyle Bowler got hurt. Kyle Bowler was the first round draft pick from the year before.
Yep.
Find out Anthony Wright is hurt and needs surgery in the summertime. But it's not going to be season ending. It's just going to be deep into the season before he's available. So now Baltimore's got a decision to make. And at this time, you've got Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Peter Boulware, Chris McAllister, Corey Fuller. Bro, I'm forgetting a million people.
Yeah.
Adalius Thomas, Bart Scott, Ed Hartwell. Like, bro, Jamal Lewis, Chester Taylor, bro, they Todd Heap, Terry Jones, like, bro.
Jonathan Ogden.
Yeah. Jonathan Ogden, bro.
That's
so I think in their brains, and also that's the year that Prime came out of retirement.
Oh, wow.
So here comes Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
So, and the defense gets a little better.
That's
right?
Nuts.
So they go and they sign Cordell Stewart off the couch. Now, Cordell Stewart becomes the number 2 quarterback. I stay the number 3 quarterback, but I'm actually the number 4 quarterback because Anthony's still going to hold a roster spot.
That's wild, bro.
So, preseason happens. Again, I play well. I think I met all the expectations that was expected of me and then some, because I can tell you, like in that first conversation that I had with Coach Billick, at the end of after the last cut. So after the last cut, so like the first week of the season comes and I get called into the office and he's like, hey, or maybe it was right before the last cut. He said, so here's the deal. You've played very well this camp. We are going to put you on the active roster. That's subject to change as early as next week. He said, essentially, if we were to waive you now to sign you on the practice roster, we do not believe that you would clear waivers. He said, so that is subject to change as early as next week. So they put me on the active roster. I traveled to Cleveland when we played the Browns. They cut me at the beginning of the week to re-sign me to put me on the practice roster. So they told me exactly what he was going to do.
Okay.
They told me exactly what they were going to do, and then they did it.
Yeah.
So then I was on the practice roster for 12 weeks with Baltimore, and then I got picked up by the Cleveland Browns off of the practice roster the last 3 games of the season of 2004.
Okay. Nice. So how was that? I guess so before we even get there, so training camp, what was it like when you first, I guess, got the chance? I know you don't really get starstruck, just knowing your personality, but like, what was it like seeing the Ed Reeds and Ray Lewis's and Ogdens and stuff like that?
So it was business as usual. I was more starstruck when I saw Dan Marino than I was, maybe because now at this point, these are my teammates. These are my peers.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo,
they're not Hall of Famers at that point.
I'm just trying to get in where I fit in. Let me make sure that I'm not. I know I'm the rookie, but I don't want to act like one. I want to act like a professional. I belong here. And so it wasn't actually even that weird to see them every day. And maybe also because there were so many of them. And they were so normal. Terrell Suggs, I almost forgot that guy. How can you?
Yeah.
Right? So, like, it was just normal. And I'm trying to make this team. I'm trying to figure out. I mean, you got to think about it, man. Like, the first meeting that we had when I was in Baltimore, Coach Billick stands up there, is basically like, hey, welcome to 2004 training camp. First thing he says out of his mouth is, I think there was 85 guys in the room. He said it's a 45-man roster, 8-man practice roster. There's 50 some odd spots. I think it was 56 spots. So there's 56 spots. We probably already know 50 of them. Ooh. First meeting, Chris.
Woo.
First meeting, it gets real, bro.
Woo.
Very sobering. He says, we probably already know 50 of them. He said, but don't cut yourself. Let us make the decision. So from that point on, I'm like game face, bro. Every day, bro. This is not practice. Every day is a game. I watched other quarterbacks struggle to get in and out of the huddle, even going back to the OTAs, right? Even going back to the OTAs where, we're getting these 25, 30 play words that we have to be able to spit out. And if they give you the play on the sideline and then you jog to the huddle and then you're in the huddle for longer than normal, they know what's happening.
Yeah, they know you're struggling getting it out.
They know what's happening, right?
Yeah.
And nobody's leaving the huddle till they know what the hell's going on. So what I started to do was I started to take the script home. I would give it to my wife. Normally when she would be taking a bath or whatever, I would sit on the floor in the bathroom while she's in the tub, and I would have her read the play off the script. I'm talking about run plays, pass plays, screen plays, draws, blitz pickup. I'm just going back through practice every day just so that I can get the rhythm of how to call the play and start to recognize and be able to master the rhythm of calling the play. Even before you know what the hell you just said, you have to be able to get out of the huddle. It was a lot, bro. It was a whole lot, but I will tell you, every offense that I learned, it got easier.
Yeah.
Like every time you learn a new offense, it got a little bit easier.
Man, that's crazy. So you saw other quarterbacks struggle. Were you able to get it down? Like, once you tried that method, so that wasn't one of the issues that you had, like in camp, you made sure that I'm getting that part together.
Yeah, no. I definitely recognized very early that the last thing I want to do is have them screaming because all these practices are timed. The periods are timed. They know to the minute how much time it should take to do X, Y, and Z. And so you're not doing plays over. They're not saying run it again.
Yeah.
They're not running it again. Right?
That's your rep.
Like it's like a machine. Yeah. That's your rep. And so I was like, noted, got it. Perfect. Perfect. And so I definitely was able to get myself out of the huddle, and then but I would not allow people to talk to me while I was in the huddle.
Yeah.
Like you can't ask me what do I have. I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know what play I just called. For real. Right. I'm gonna figure it out while I walk to the line of scrimmage. I would figure it out while I walk to the line of scrimmage, bro. And by the time you get to blue 52, the first blue 52, you're like, okay, I called, Y shallow X drag. Okay, I know the Y's running the shallow, and I know the X is on the drag. So one of those two guys is getting the ball, bro. You know, one of those two guys is getting the ball, and so you
Oh
just do the
man.
best that you can. And you know, it like the following year, I'm in Cleveland with the Browns and Charlie Fry, who also spent some time out there in Oakland.
Yep.
He comes in the spring and he stinks after the draft. Stinks, bro. Can't get right.
Mm-hmm.
But to be fair, he's going through what I went through a year ago.
Yeah.
In the OTAs in the spring, me just trying to figure out how to call
Trying to figure it out. Yeah.
He comes back in the fall and he was balling.
Doing his thing, yeah.
He was balling, bro. So that time that he was able to go and get into the playbook and start to get the mechanics of calling the plays and understanding who's doing
process
what.
It.
I mean, all of that, bro. So like, you know, so yeah, man, it's a wild game at this position. It's a very wild game.
Oh yeah.
But it's a wild game, period. But particularly at this position, it gets crazy.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Do you think that in today's game, you know, they expect quarterbacks to come in and play right away and just get to it, whereas, you know, before a lot of the quarterbacks had a chance to maybe sit behind someone? What do you think is helping quarterbacks be able to do that? Is it them playing sevens year round, you know, young kids doing that all the way up to college and all that? Like, what do you think helps with that?
I think that the NFL has matured. I think that the game has evolved to be more similar to the college game. I believe that, I mean, just think about it. How many teams play from the shotgun predominantly?
Right.
In the league now, right?
Right. Yeah.
You've got. I mean, football is football, right? So if we're running zone, we're running zone from under center. We're running zone from the shotgun. It doesn't matter. It's just a matter of preference. But I feel like that is a big part of it, where the offense is now wrapping itself around the players more than it was. See, back in the day, it was, hey man, this is what we do.
Yeah, you got to conform to it.
Yes, this is what we do. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck figuring it out. And that's just not the case anymore that much, right? You've got some of these teams that are drafting players and then hiring their coaches. You know what I mean? It's just you know,
that's true.
So it's a whole different animal, I would say, now than it was. I think that the level of productivity that these college players, college quarterbacks are coming out of the league, out of college with and into the league with is, I think it has warranted that sort of, or I don't know whether it's warranted it or not, but it has driven it. It has driven, you got this guy who has thrown for 1 billion yards, whose completion percentage has been freaking, 70%.
Yeah.
Right? For 2 or 3 seasons, or even for one entire season. That's Drew Brees, bro.
Yeah.
So you're like, am I looking at Drew Brees?
Right.
Like,
right.
Are we drafting Drew Brees? And if so, how can we make sure that we put this thing together around him so that he can be equally as productive?
Yeah.
Right? And I think that is what is, making it easier. Also, a lot of these spread offenses, it's just football from shotgun.
Right.
So the fact that we're doing these things and making these reads, the read is the same in college as it is in the league.
Either way, yeah. Because it's crazy because, you know, before that used to always be a knock on quarterbacks, like, oh, he's only been out of the shotgun. How's he going to be able to conform in the NFL? Now it's like they don't even care. They're like, hey, you know, we'll change up our plan and cater to the quarterback.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's a different game. It's more wide open, right? If you go, third down, before, it might have been bootlegs, might have been play action pass, might have been under center, like might have been sprint out. And now they're like, listen, bro, it's 3rd and 11. We getting in shotgun, dog. You know what's coming.
Yeah.
See if you can stop it, right? We're not even going to try to fake it like we're about to run the ball.
Yeah.
5 wide, empty formation, like good luck.
Right.
And I think that has been a big proponent as to why these young players can play right away. I think the technology, I think the amount of time being spent in study and preparation has been probably more than it was. I think that these young guys, these kids, have been playing football year round.
Right.
So that's what they're already doing. Like, they're ready for that. They ain't really trying to go kick it all like that. They're like, hey man, give me my guys and give me some of my guys and let's go play football. Let's go play catch.
Yeah.
Let's go do routes on air. Right.
Yeah.
And because now so many young guys have played early and had success, now the next guy wants to do that.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's definitely a different game, man. Definitely a different game. So one thing I always did wonder is kind of going back to the training camp. So when you were saying that, everything's timed and all that. So for reps, for like rookies like yourself, do you guys get, I mean, like how's the rookie rep count compared to the veterans? Because at the end of the day, in training camp, I know they want to install the offense for the starters and things like that, but how do they make sure they can get a good view of what Josh Harris can do and evaluate him?
Woo! So that is a loaded question because it's going to depend on the roster, right? Does the roster already have their guy? Right? If they've got their guy, then he doesn't have to take all the reps. So now that
like a Kyle Bowler
get more. Well,
so
he was young, but Kyle Bowler, because he was young, they wanted him to take as many reps as possible.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He was drafted to be the guy, but was not the guy yet.
Right.
I'm talking about if you're playing behind Derek Carr, if you're playing behind,
Jimmy G.
Not Jimmy G, because Jimmy G ended up getting swooped too, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about guys like established guys. What's old boy's name in with the Chargers, right? If you're behind Josh Allen, if you're behind Jalen Hurts, if you're behind Patrick Mahomes, if you're behind one of the guys who's not being moved, bro.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, gotcha.
That person may not take a whole bunch of reps. It also depends on the veteranness of your skill group.
Yeah.
If the skill group is super veteran, they're not going to beat their legs up in practice. So they're going to put the young guys in there. So it matters. The whole thing matters.
Okay, that makes sense.
The whole thing actually. So, but they're going to get a few reps. Again, you gotta win. You gotta win the spot to get to the place where you can get a rep in practice.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
I probably won that opportunity in OTAs going into training camp, and then I just didn't relinquish it. And I just didn't lose it.
Yeah.
So they weren't giving other guys reps, bro. Like it was Kyle would get his reps and Cordell would get his reps and I would get some reps. And then maybe Cordell goes with the ones and I go with the 2s and the 3s, or maybe Cordell goes with the 1s and the 2s and then I go with you just got to be ready when they say jump in there.
That's real. Yeah. That's real. That's real. Man. I know you're busy, so getting ready to wrap it up, but one thing I wanted to kind of ask you, because you're someone that I know you're real successful in your business world and everything, and I know you're always been very motivational. But I guess what's some words of wisdom that you could give young athletes who aspire to get drafted in the NFL? What are some things that you would tell them?
How young?
Let's just say high school. Just your son's age.
So the thing that I would say, I got this thing that I say, man, and this might be fair, might not be fair, but all I can do is come from my perspective. Rule number one is, can you do it? Some of that has to do with nature. Rule number one is, can you do it? I'm not saying you can afford to be lazy if you are, whatever. If you are skilled and you can do it. You can't afford to be lazy because the way that these kids are training these days, the floor is coming up.
Yeah. Yeah.
The cream is still the cream. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
The cream is still the cream, but the rest of the crop?
Yeah. They can train and work on this. Yeah. Yeah.
Not far behind because they are maxing themselves out.
Yeah.
From a skill perspective. So rule number one is, can you do it, right? The biggest thing I could say is you gotta work really hard, and you have to be very, very honest about your situation and not make any excuses. You got a lot of kids that want to cry about politics and want to and cry the blues, but in a lot of instances, it's not necessarily politics. You just ain't that good yet.
They need to hear that, though.
Not to say that you're not gonna be.
Yeah.
But you just not that good yet. And if you feel like you are, then go beat the guy that is. Like, make it obvious. You cannot have it be up for debate. Like, some things you can win closely, and other things need to be a blowout regularly.
Yeah.
Because if you make it be close, and there is some sort of whatever, he's a senior, it's his last hurrah, like, he's a this, he's played with us before. Then so you have to make it so it's not even close. And I just believe that there has to be a level of ownership that is taken by the kids that I will not be denied. And then also, man, it ain't even the kids we gotta talk to, Chris. For real, bro.
Parents.
It's the parents.
Yeah, just delusional.
There's a lot of that. You said it, not me, bro. You said it, not me. So what I would say one of the things I can say that I've done with my children is I've studied them from the very beginning. And I put my kids in positions where what they are doing, success comes naturally and easily for them. Like, when that is the case, they don't have to struggle. They still have to work hard.
Yeah.
But they don't have to struggle in the thing.
Yeah.
Right? So if my kid was like, man, I really want to play baseball, Daddy, I'd be like, yeah, bro, we're gonna go play some wiffle ball out here. but as it relates to like really getting after it, listen, man. So remember, I said, you asked me about my dad and did I use him as a resource, and I said I didn't. I remember when I was with the Giants and I was just struggling, bro. My reps had gotten cut from whatever they were to they brought another veteran off the couch, retired for 2 years, Rob Johnson. He had played for Tom Coughlin before in Jacksonville, and boom, they bring him to New York. I don't even know why. They had Eli Manning, they had Tim Hasselbeck, they had Jared Lorenzen, they had me, right? So,
oh wow,
they didn't bring him to replace me. Maybe it was because Tim Hasselbeck wasn't playing that well, or I know they didn't trust Jared Lorenzen, rest in peace, because they was battling with his weight, and he, you know, like, so I don't know why you bring a guy,
the dude off the couch,
but 2 years removed with Tommy John surgery.
That's wild.
But when it happened, my reps went from whatever they were to I would get 3 reps in team and 3 reps in 7-on-7. And there's no telling. So you really can't make a team like that. Because my 3 reps, 2 of them might be runs and team. It might be runs with 1 pass play and then 3 pass plays in 7-on-7, right? And so I remember feeling overwhelmed. I remember feeling like these decisions. I had some personal stuff going on. So I remember feeling like I called my dad one time and I was screaming into the phone, like, why is it so hard? Why are these decisions so hard? And it's because I was 20, probably like what, 22? I mean, 22, 23 at the time. And I'm thinking, like, when all actuality, some of the decisions, one of the first hard decisions was, do I take my wife with me in that summertime with Baltimore, right? Or do I not, right? So there's that decision. Then there's the decision of, do I stay in Baltimore or do I allow myself to get signed by the Browns? Because I had a choice. Right? And she's saying we should stay. You know how they feel about you here. And I'm saying we've been praying about this all season.
Active spot.
About getting that active season, credited season. Nah, we got to go. And then in Cleveland, I get cut. Now it's, do we stay here or do we go to Canada? And they're calling and putting pressure on. And the agent's saying, don't go, don't go, don't go. And I'm saying, yeah, bro, but how am I going to pay my bills?
I got to do something. Yeah. Right?
And then now I'm in New York and I'm trying to make this team. And there was just all these things, bro. I ain't got no money, bro. Car payments late, all these different things. All the stuff that people don't know that these guys be going through.
Yeah.
So those same guys, those same players that you guys say suck and all this, maybe
they're going through some real stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he was trying to figure out how to pay his car payment before he got to practice and he had a bad day. Who knows? Maybe that's why he didn't want to sign the autograph for you. But
that's real.
But I just remember thinking, why do I have to make these decisions on my own? So when I watch these parents nowadays allow their kids to have so much power and choice when they don't have enough experience, they can be a part of the decision making. And I'm not trying to tell nobody how to raise their kids.
Yeah.
But your child could make it, especially as they get older, that child can make a decision that impacts the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And he or she is completely unprepared to make those kind of decisions on their own. So when you sit there and say, yeah, but it's his life, hands off, that is that's
a dangerous game to play.
Dangerous game to play, bro. Like, I should have absolutely talked to my dad about. So when you were talking to agents, he might have been like, Josh, I never had an agent. And we could have had that whole conversation as to why and what were you thinking and this and that. I didn't do none of that. I didn't do any of that, bro. I was like, man, listen, I'm a good judge of character. I'm this. I'm 20 years. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So
that's real.
That's what I would say. I would say to the kids and to their parents, you got to be really, really honest about where your kid. It's one thing to have a dream. I'm not trying to shit on nobody's dream. It's one thing to have a dream and to pursue it, and it's another thing to just pull something out of the sky. Because rule number one is rule number one, bro.
Yeah.
You know, can you do it? That's rule number one. And if you can't quite do it, then are you close enough? If I work really hard and become a specialist, you know, like so nowadays, I mean, you don't even have to be able to do the whole game very well. If you're a smaller, undersized
specialized in one thing. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
You ain't got to be able to do it all. You know, that's what we talked to our oldest son about, bro. He's 6'5", and between 205 and 210 right now, it's like he'll probably end up being 240 by the time he gets done with college, or probably a flex tight end or something, right? And so it's like, man, we could talk about you running a fast 40, but you only going to run as fast as you can run.
Yeah.
But his catch radius is crazy. You got bounce for days. Like, you got to stay really good at the things that make you special.
That you do good,
and then work as hard as you can to get faster.
Yeah. It's like, oh, go deep and wide, like go deep and then you can spread out. Like, but
Correct.
yeah, wow,
Correct.
that's crazy. But you know, I mean, that's good that you say that you get that in his head now, because he might have, you know, aspirations of doing something else, but at least you got the experience to know, like, hey, this is where it's at for you, man. So that's major, man.
Yeah, and you do got to speak to the strengths of your children, because like he's never been fast,
Mm-hmm.
but then my little one has always been fast.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you get into this recruiting process, and everybody cares about that 40 time. And so now people are saying, yeah, but you're not fast enough. You're this or you're that or whatever. And then you hear people talking about how fast and explosive your little brother is. Like that could ruin somebody.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But you just have to continue to pour into them in their space. Like, hey man, but nobody does this like you do, right? Here's what you do. So guess what? Listen, we're not gonna run a fast 40. Hey, do your best in the 40. When it comes time to play football, let's go do what we do. You know, when it comes to 7-on-7, when it comes to 1-on-1s, let's go do what we do. Now it's time to shine. You're not gonna shine on the postcard. Okay?
Yeah. Yep.
Get that out your head. Do your best. Don't even trip. Don't even be bothered by it anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you'll run a faster 40 when you get strong. But like, you know, you've grown 8 to 10 inches in the last 24 months, dog. You're not there, bro. We gotta wait.
You're right. Right. That's a fact.
We gotta wait, bro. Like
that's a fact.
So that's that, man. That's what I would say. Be honest.
Sounds good, man. Well, I appreciate it, man. You know, again, I know you're super busy. You want to just take a second just to talk about your business you got going before we wrap it up?
Yeah, man, I appreciate the opportunity and the platform. So I am I've been in the life insurance industry for 11 years as a producer and also as an agency owner. We've gotten more aggressive about hiring full and part-time virtual agents in the last probably 9 months or so. So we sell every kind of life insurance product that you could possibly imagine or need. I focus more, I mean, I wouldn't use this platform necessarily to try to find clients, although if somebody was in need of life insurance, certainly they could hit me up, 614-266-9020. But primarily, if you were looking for an opportunity, career change, recent graduates, people trying to figure out the meaning of life now, like 18 years old, or these kids that are getting ready to go to college, they are going to college, but they're going to have to work their way through college. They're going to be servers, they're going to be bartenders, they're going to be whatever. Like, why not try something different, right? Where it's probably going to pay a little better. It's still incredibly flexible. This is 2023, man. This is not the old school version of life insurance where you're running around picking up premiums from your clients, bro. Like, we're doing business over the phone and over Zoom and all kinds of stuff. And the average commission probably pays somewhere between $600 and $1,200. So again, that number 614-266-9020. If you want to talk more about what it looks like on a full-time or part-time basis, I'm happy to have that conversation. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to say so.
No problem. No problem. Again, man, I appreciate all that you do, man. So again, man, best of luck in everything you do. Definitely gonna be watching what your son do over there at you know, following your footsteps, man. I know he's gonna be out there balling. So is he gonna do two sports?
No, man, he just had fun during basketball season, bro. He's not a hooper, bro. He's just really athletic.
You can't say he's not a hooper, bro. The way he was dunking on people like it was his man.
You ain't gotta be a hooper to be able to dunk on people, man. Like he is definitely very aware where his butter is breaded. His bread is buttered, I should say. But he did have a blast during basketball season, and we had a blast watching him.
For sure.
So the next man up, my younger one is my younger one is a freshman right now. He'll be a sophomore, and it will be equally as fun watching him come through Westerville Central as well.
Nice. All right, Josh. I appreciate all you done, man. So again, I wish you the best luck, man.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right, boss. All right, guys, there you have it. Thank you for joining the show. You know, as I always say, coaches and players come and go, but we must always protect the shield. You guys stay safe out there. Happy Memorial Day.